Hi, I'm Fatema, host and producer of Educate, Empower, and Inspire, broadcasted on IBN television. The show aims to put successful women in the spotlight to get a glimpse as to how they're making a difference to our society and how they can inspire others to do the same. Oprah Winfrey says, education is the key as it opens doors to freedom and possibilities. The Africa Learning Barometer at the US-based Center for Universal Education at Brookings says, of the continent's nearly 128 million school-age children, 17 million will never attend school. In order to overcome this, we have with us two incredible women, Nisha Ligon and Doreen Kessey, the founders of Ubongo, a social enterprise that creates interactive edutainment for kids in Africa using technologies that they already have. With over 1.4 million weekly viewers in East Africa, the company is dedicated to creating interactive content that makes learning fun and transforming the learning experiences of 440 million kids. Ubongo was named the world's top 10 interactive companies of 2015 in Africa. Thank you for being here with us today, Doreen and Nisha. So you managed to find the perfect fit. You've created a company that's successful and you're giving back to the community. What is the inspiration behind Ubongo, and can you tell us the story of how it started?
Yeah, so Ubongo is a Tanzanian social enterprise. We create these interactive educational cartoons, and there were actually 5 of us who started the company, and we were all trying to do the same thing but in different ways. Like basically, how do we help kids find a fun way to learn? Specifically here in Tanzania, I was a student at University of Dar es Salaam. Our co-founders, all came through the school systems here, and learning is rote. And we wanted to make it fun in some way and give them, some inspiration to want to learn. So we were each doing different things, and then it really just took one meeting together between an animator, a songwriter, me, I come from an educational media background, a software developer, and a teacher, and we said, wow, we can do this. We can make educational cartoons which are interactive. So we never thought about starting a company. We thought about like what we wanted to do and what the product was, and then as that progressed, it was like, okay, we need to turn this into a company and figure out how this becomes a business and becomes sustainable. But the starting point was really what we wanted to achieve. Okay,
very cool. So why Bongo Kids? Why the name?
Yeah, it went through a couple of different iterations, but the word Ubongo kept sticking for at least the company name, because we were like, it's all about the brain. And there's this trend with educational technology of using this U to, it's almost like university, so it all kind of felt together. And then kids, because they're kids and they like watching it. And we actually did test a bunch of different names. We had Bunga Bongo, Jipaishe, all different things, but Ubongo Kids was just what stuck. And like, even though it sounds a little strange to people, everyone can understand it. Because as soon as you hear Ubongo Kids, it's like, it's education, right?
Yeah, it's great.
So it's easy for people so it sticks in people's minds. Cool. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about your backgrounds? You're 2 women that come from such different backgrounds. How did you come together to create this company?
So I grew up here, studied, born and raised here, and that was in rural Tanzania, so Iringa. And then after secondary school, I went to the US. And then I always knew that I wanted to come back home and do something about so many of the different issues and challenges that we are facing. So it was just a matter of time, and I was always looking for an opportunity. So I started looking for the opportunity to just, come back. But I was always very passionate about education, and wanted to do something, to, make a difference in that space. So my mom saw the cartoons online, and she was like amazed because she's a former teacher. She's a teacher as well. Now she's back to that. And she was just like amazed, and she was like, Doreen, this is amazing. You want to look into this company. And for a long time, I didn't get a chance to do it, but then when I did, I was blown away, and I just remember feeling like, oh my gosh, this is great, because I never learned like that. Like I never, I felt like this is exactly what I was looking throughout my schooling years, fun learning, but I never had that. Like to me, learning was like a dreadful thing. Like I just didn't enjoy it. It was about punishment and rote memorization and just, so that's when I met Nisha and joined the team, and it has been great. I absolutely love working at Ubongo because you can see the direct impact. We see kids come to the office, kids who watch the show on TV that love it. And we're definitely having an impact there. It's about changing their, approach towards learning and how they think about learning. And so that is happening, and that is what makes us going,
Cool, okay. So you have some cartoon characters that have become really, really famous. Can you tell us a little bit about them, who they are, and what are their personalities? And who is your favorite?
Well, I guess our most famous has to be Mama Ndege. I think kids all over Tanzania know and love Mama Ndege. But shoot, I don't want to give away her backstory. But she was actually, it wasn't like we sat in this dark room and said, this is going to be this character and this one's going to be another one. We were actually trying to come up with a way to teach even and odd numbers. So we said, what if we had a bird who's like picking seeds for her two children? So she always wants to get an even number of seeds so she can split them evenly. So Tom, who's a teacher who works with us, and we wrote the script, and it was this mother bird character, and Mama Ndege. And so she was just going to be this character in the first episode. And then when we were recording in rural Bagamoyo, outside, so not in a studio, just like trying to get the natural sound out there because we didn't have any money to rent a studio then. And the girl we'd asked to play the part, she wasn't quite doing it right. And so Klenga, who's our co-founder, who's an artist, who's just amazing, I was kind of like, Klenga, can you just try a voice for Mama Ndege? And the voice he came out with was just like, I can't even pretend to try it, but it was just this squawk that everyone knows, and it was just so catchy and really fun for the kids. So he ended up, I was like, great, do that voice, and then we wrote her into every episode since, and she's really become the mascot for the show and for the company. And there's lots of other characters who support her. So there's Toto Tembo, who's all about savings and always putting things away. Uncle T, who's a rapping giraffe. And of course the kids, Kibena, Kiduchu, Koba, and Baraka, who go on adventures together in the types of situations that Tanzanian kids would recognize. And then another special character who actually Doreen now does the voice of in English.
I would say my favorite is the rapping giraffe, definitely, but also Ngedere. I'm biased because I do the voice of Ngedere in English, so I love Ngedere. She has an attitude.
Oh wow! Okay, that sounds fun. So there's obviously, like you said, there's so much research and creativity that goes behind each show. So can you take us through how an episode of Bongo Kids is made?
So it's, as the team's grown, the process has grown too. So at the beginning, there were only a couple of us. So we just kind of made everything, and we did always what we've done is lots and lots of testing with kids. So, try something out, test it, see if they like it, try quizzing them to see if they learned anything and go back again. But now we've developed an even more kind of structured process for that. So we gather together teachers or educators and our writers, and we talk about possible topics and what are problem topics, what should we cover. From there, we then take the topics we want to cover, write a script,
Okay.
We actually test the scripts now, or even the ideas for the scripts with children, as telling them as a story. Is this story interesting? And then if that's interesting, it moves on to the next phase. If not, it kind of goes back to be reworked. Then we bring in the voice actors to record. So even Doreen gets to do a bit of voice acting, and we have lots of really amazing kids, a lot of whom live right behind our office in Msasani, who come in and do the voice acting. And once we have their voices, it goes to the animators. They storyboard it to show what it's going to look like, and then they start doing the animation. And animation is very time consuming, but we really have an amazing team of animators, all Tanzanian, mostly just self-taught animators who do the animation. And then the final step is doing the sound design, so adding all the sound effects and music to it. And I think everyone's favorite part of the show is the music. And it's just so catchy, and people love it. So it's been great. And then we put it on TV. I guess Doreen can take over from there.
And then we put it on TV, and usually we put it to free air TV first on that. And then what we do is we usually look for sponsors that have child-friendly products and strong brands that would want to advertise on the show. So that's what we do. And
you seem like you have like an amazing team of people, and you know, when you watch the animation, you're like, oh, this looks easy, but from what I can tell, like there's so much work that goes into like each episode. And you guys seem to do a lot of research as well. Like it's not just okay, you know, I guess this could work with the kids.
There's a lot of input from everyone, like education experts. We have to set learning objectives. We have to integrate the feedback from the kids. And so there's a lot of bits and pieces from everyone. It's a great team.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so I was gonna ask you, but I think you covered it, that, you know, you if you can run us through how you figure out the education component of these videos, you know, specifically what education content to focus on and how to present that content effectively. But you said that you basically you meet with the educators and you sort of figure out how to what sort of material to sort of showcase.
Well, one other interesting thing we've done though, so we have this SMS-based interaction system where kids can answer questions about what they've learned using SMS and actually win phone calls from the cartoon characters and listen to stories. But we've also used that in the past to find out what do kids want to learn. So we've given them possible topics that we could teach, and then we actually have them write in an SMS to vote on what topic they want to learn. So it's not just coming from the teachers, but we've also given the kids a chance to say, this is what either we're struggling with or what we want to learn. And we want to keep doing more of that as we go along.
Okay. So the show is in Kiswahili. It has a very local feel. Why do you feel it was important to do that?
I mean, it's really important because, first of all, kids in Tanzania and Africa in general do not have enough content. And you know, like growing up, I never really saw any, like the content that we have, like first educational, and then it's a cartoon show in Swahili. No, there's nothing like that. Growing up, I never saw that. In fact, I remember getting really excited when Lion King came out. And they said Hakuna Matata. And I was just like, oh my god, like, you know, because you're used, like, you know, these movies are coming from like the US, and it's like, oh my gosh, they know about Hakuna Matata. That's awesome. I remember getting so excited. So it's really important for kids growing up and seeing people who look like them, who are like strong characters, who inspire them, you know, to be great. So I mean, the fact that our content is localized is really important, and that is like what our value proposition. Like, you know, we're not talking about, you know, the weather, or like we're talking about things that they experience every day. We're talking about pilau. We're talking about things that they can relate to. Things they can relate to, and not things that they have to imagine, like, oh wait, you know, it happened in London. They've never been there. You know, so that's really important, and that is what's making the difference.
So you mentioned that one way you keep things interactive is through the that, you know, after they answer a bunch of questions, they can get a phone call from one of their favorite characters. What are other ways that you keep it, the kids interested and you keep things interactive?
Yeah, so we've really tried since the beginning to build this strong connection with the audience. So the SMS-based system has really evolved. It used to just be send us a message, and now it's this full system where they get answers. If they got the question right, they get congratulated. If they got it wrong, they get an explanation of the right answer. So there's that for people who have basic mobiles. Then we also have a very active Facebook page. We've got about 85,000 Facebook fans who are mostly parents, but they kind of interact for their kids. So it's really nice. We post questions and just get such a strong response, whether it's, you know, what have you learned through the show, or who is your favorite character, or what else would you like to learn. And one of the things that people actually requested on Facebook was more stories. And so we actually created this new functionality of audio stories where they could listen to Ubongo Kids stories through the phone. So there's that. And then lastly, although we can't reach every kid with this, what we always like to do is include the kids themselves. So at the end of every season, the last episode is always called Sisi Watoto. And we go around, we film Ubongo Kids fans, and they either teach us a little something or tell us what they like about the show, or sing a song, and then we actually put them in the animated world together with the cartoon characters. And it's like they have a conversation with the characters.
Oh, amazing, amazing.
So, and that, I think it adds that little bit of magic that then makes every other kid want to learn math and science and get really good at it, so that they could be in that animated world too.
Wow, that's amazing. I would want to do that.
It's amazing how many phone calls we get from kids wanting to be a part of that. It's like, oh my gosh, yes. It's like, please, can I come? Can I be on TV?
We had a girl who would call us every night. She's 5 years old. Mimi, nafanya kazi vizuri.
Can I talk to Mama Ndege? Is Ngedere there? So it's amazing.
That's fantastic. Wow. Okay. So I read a little bit on your website, you know, about some statistics about how the show has helped kids improve in various subjects. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. So we did, in 2014, we did a small study where what we did was we tested children at the beginning of 6 months and at the end, and also right before and after watching each episode of Ubongo Kids. And we compared them to children who were watching different cartoons, which weren't educational. And we found that the children who watched Ubongo Kids improved significantly more than the children who were watching other cartoons on whatever subject they were learning. So if it was about fractions or decimals or whatnot. So we've seen that really immediate impact, that after I watch an episode, you know, I understand the content and I get better at it. And now what's really exciting is this year we're starting a study that's going to look at more of the long-term impact. What do they remember over time? How does it help their general school performance? So we're doing a study in Morogoro town with 3 to 6 year olds with a new show we're developing, Akili and Me, before we even launch the show, so that we can see, does this really, you know, educationally help the kids and result in learning outcomes so that they're ready to learn when they enter school? And then we're also going to be doing a rural study with children in non-electrified communities who've never had access to Ubongo Kids. How do they improve after we bring them these kinds of cartoons?
And you know, that's one thing that I think is so amazing, that you guys actually look at the effectiveness. I think that a lot of people would just put it out there and be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's effective. But to have the numbers and to sort of know how exactly it is effective, you know, it's amazing.
Yeah, we are a learning company. So that is a really important metric for us.
We have to learn too.
We have to learn too. Are they learning how, and you know, to what extent? So that's really important for us to measure.
Cool. So the show started in Tanzania and you've since expanded in East Africa. How did that happen?
Yeah.
And where have you expanded to?
Yeah, so we have we launched here in Tanzania in January 2014.
Okay.
And we launched with Kiswahili only.
Okay.
And then we grew in languages and we dubbed it into English.
Okay.
And so when we had it in English, then we could, go to more markets. And we expanded to Kenya in English, and then we did Rwanda. And then we've been able to do Uganda and Ghana.
Okay.
And we want to expand across Anglo-African, but also Francophone Africa.
Yeah.
But we are targeting all of Africa. We want to reach all 440 million kids. So that's the goal.
But it's really exciting because all the episodes, they're always Kiswahili first. And it is something that's Tanzanian that we're able to export to all of these other countries.
Yeah.
So, it's exciting, and I think is sharing a bit of the culture from here too, with kids in other places who, kids in Ghana are learning the word ndege and learning about eating pilau and all the different sorts of things we talk about here.
And I'd even add that we are also expanding in terms of platforms, like where our content is accessible.
Okay.
Right now it's available on TV and on mobile with the interaction system.
Right.
But then we want to reach more people, and of course radio has the widest reach.
Yeah.
So we're developing new shows.
Right.
We are actually working on one right now, which will launch in March. But also, we want that to be on radio and then create apps.
Right.
We want to also create an online learning portal where parents and kids can come and subscribe to the content and even, have it all the time. Right. So that's the goal. We want to be in in whatever technology they have.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But here you find that right now, how many kids do you reach, like with your TV?
Yeah, the numbers are actually pretty amazing.
Okay.
The viewership on each day that it's on is usually about 600 to 800,000 households. And we know that about 2.4 people are watching per household. So, that's upwards of 2 million kids who are tuning in each week, which is pretty great reach. It's still not everyone though. There's about 22 million under 14s in Tanzania. So our real hope is that projects like radio and then also these rural screening centers and figuring out ways to get it to the rural areas can help us reach all the kids.
Yeah, cool. So what are some of the challenges you guys have faced, and how do you think that has shaped you?
Take that away. There are a few challenges.
I'll take one challenge is always so when you're starting out, we're always trying to find where do we fit as far as we are a company, but we weren't started to make money. We were started to create to transform education for kids. But we do really strongly believe that we want to do that in a sustainable way. And we'd seen all these great projects that just fizzle out because they got grant funding and then it ended. And then that's the end. So we've been trying to turn this into something that at least the TV show can be financially sustainable, and then maybe we just get grants to go to the poorest kids. But it's been really up and down. It's mostly dependent on either advertising or message sponsorship because the TV stations don't have money to pay for content. So, it's just been an up and down battle, and it's, we've learned so much through the process, and we've gotten really creative with the ways that we bring income in to try and keep the show going. And now we're lucky that we've also been able to show the results so that for our new show we're developing, we have been able to get some grant money that at least kickstarts it and gets it off the ground. But it's a constant challenge, and as the team continues to grow, it's just we never want to take anything away from our audience. They love it so much. So we started this going, we just got to find the ways to, keep it sustainable and grow it even more.
Yeah. I'd add it has also been very challenging finding skilled people as well. Finding the, there are a few positions that we always, trying to fill, but it's not, it takes time for us to find the qualified people. So that's a challenge.
and we find them in unexpected places. Sometimes we find, like, I think, you know, we don't pay much attention to what certificate someone has or what they studied. But we really, you know, like people who are go-getters, who just, you know, they figure things out and they get things done. And we have a lot of members of our team who don't have a university education, but are doing very technical jobs because they've managed to, you know, kind of teach themselves and learn how to do it. We also have a lot of women, because I think they tend to be good at that. Over half of our team is women, and most of our kind of management positions are also women. So we keep a really open mind with hiring.
That's fantastic.
But we're constantly searching, so if anyone is interested.
I think that's amazing. I think that passion drives a lot of things, and it's not necessarily that you have to have this sort of certificate or degree. If you're just willing to learn and you're willing to, you know, if you're happy with what you're doing, you can get anywhere.
And that's what we're doing as a company. I mean, you know, when you look around, it's very hard to find a comparable, like another company like us.
Right.
And so we are always trying to figure things out. It's almost like we are paving the way. You know?
It's like there's no right path set. We figure it out as we go along.
Right. You know, when it's so we are learning as we go, because it's like, we're doing this for the first time in Tanzania. Even when you look in Africa, there are not so many, like, you know, e-learning companies that created cartoons like us. So that's the approach you have to have, like, you know, figure it out.
As you go.
As you go. Every day at the time we're like, oh, we just need to get this figured out, and then we're good. And then like 2 days later, there's another next hurdle. But I mean, you learn so much, I have to say. And
I think it's amazing, because from what I can sense, you guys have such a good, positive vibe. And, you know, I know working here, it can get so challenging sometimes. Working anywhere, life can get so challenging, working gets so challenging, but if you have a good attitude and you have that go-getter attitude, that's what keeps you going.
I always say it, like, impossible is not even a word. You just have to find a way to get it done. It can be done, just figure it out.
I actually just wanted to ask you, so you're from the States, right? You studied there, you live there. How was it coming and working in Tanzania? Like the sometimes it's very difficult when there's no system, or how did you do it?
Well, so I'm half Thai, half American, so I've grown up a bit around the world, so at least I'm used to differences. But actually Thailand's probably even more efficient at getting things done than America. So it gets tough, but I've always been one of those people who's just like, I think the way I was raised, and even the types of work I've done, it's just like you have to figure it out and you have to get it done. And I always wanted to come to Africa. So I came here as a student to Tanzania, wanted to learn Kiswahili, studied at University of Dar es Salaam. And actually my first real work outside of student jobs was here in Tanzania. I guess I'm lucky in a sense that I didn't get into the system too far in America. So I'm pretty used to doing business here. But the other thing that keeps me sane is we just have such a great team. So when we're in our office, we have a big open plan office. All of us are in the same room. It's colorful and there's cartoons everywhere, and everyone has a great attitude and just is really efficient and works hard and gets things done. So, and we have a WhatsApp group with everyone. So whoever's the one who's stuck at some bureaucratic office or being asked for a bribe or trying to get something done, they're always sharing it on and we're kind of like joking around that on WhatsApp. And I think it just having the whole team behind you rather than feeling like, oh, I have to do this all by my own is really, really helpful.
Yeah, I think you're so right. When you have the right people around you, it makes things so much easier.
She's also just patient and nice, so it helps.
Smartphones are really good. I do a lot of work on my phone while waiting for letters and
and like you said, sometimes when the traffic is bad, you should just think positive and listen to
an audiobook.
It's an opportunity to do something else.
I think that I need to be a little bit more like that, because I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my god, I need to get to work, I need to get good. But yeah, you have to take things positively.
Yeah.
So you said that basically your goal is to get to every platform and, you know, sort of increase the reach of your audience. What are some other educational materials you're looking to create? You know, your plan.
Yeah. So we have created DVDs.
Okay.
That is something we've done before, but we want to do more than that, and also, you know, print books.
Right.
We're also working on a project now that is testing different models for Ubongo Kids clubs in rural areas, in non-electrified areas. And so if that comes through and like we find out it's a model that we find a model that works, we want to be able to create almost like a package, like a you know, like workbooks that kids can, you know, watch the show, but also after they have watched the show, use those workbooks to continue learning and do questions and stuff like that.
And then we've been really working hard with the content we're releasing this year to make everything also work just as audio, which allows us to deliver it over radio and then even via mobile phones through a phone call, so you can listen to an educational song or something like that.
And audio stories.
Stories. And then the last big thing is we're really trying to go digital. So we're building what we call our digital Ubongo, like our brain in the cloud, which is hosting all of the content. And then the idea is to be able to push that to different apps, services, web portals, so that we can continue to use what we've already created and adapt it for a new platform. So we've already developed one Android app and we're getting ready to launch that. And then we want to do a whole suite of things around it. And we know for now it only reaches about 18% of the population. But the idea is it's kind of this bridge to digital learning. So we're introducing some, and as each kid gets access, which is happening, then they can also get there. In the meantime, they've got radio.
We have to start somewhere. And I'd say in terms of content, we're also reaching parents, right? Because they, I mean, for the most part, parents have believed like, you know, that is the work that a teacher does, like helping kids with learning. But now we're saying, no, like as a parent, you have to be involved and you can help your child learn. And
so it's raising awareness to parents that you know, you can be involved. It's true, because like I said, when I was growing up, I think that my mom didn't know that, you know, that she could get involved. I think that she was like, yeah, you go to school, you come back, you were taught everything, you know. But it's amazing. And I think that whatever little your parents can get in, like, it helps in the long run. It helps so much, you know.
And even more importantly, it's like, you can get involved, but here's how. And so we are, you know,
little
we want
tips,
to send
easy steps.
Easy steps. This is how you can, you know, you can solve this question with your child, and this is a, you know, a little project you can work on with your child, and you know, so that's really important. Just guiding parents on how to do it, because I'm sure most parents want to, but they don't know where to start. So
right now you guys are focused on math and science, right? Do you plan on like increasing the range of subjects that you're willing to teach?
We have a show in the works right now that teaches, it's a whole range of what we call school readiness skills. So we saw this big gap. There were lots of like kids who weren't even in school yet who were watching our show, and the math and science is way too advanced for them. But we know that the most important years for a child's cognitive development, the development of their brain, is before the age of 5. So we decided to target what are the most important skills to develop there. So we're doing letter recognition and letter sounds. So before you can start to read, you have to learn your alphabet. We're doing basic numeracy, so counting, shapes, folding, puzzles, things like that, drawing and motor skills. So it's a really cute segment with a character who like teaches the kids how to draw, and reading, but they're not reading themselves yet. This is reading to them. And then lastly, it's English as a second language. So we have a Kiswahili narrator, but then all the characters are speaking English, so that the kids learn English with the characters as the characters learn. So that's our next big push. And that's a different show. It's called Akili and Me, but it's kind of the same style. It's just for younger kids. And then, yeah, as we grow, we're going to continue adding new subjects, more topics, and more age groups too.
Do you think that you could ever take over like the need for kids to actually go to school? I know this is a bit of a challenging question, but I'd like to do that.
No, we don't.
There's no replacement for a great teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't see ourselves replacing teachers, but we see ourselves complementing what is happening in the classroom.
Okay.
For instance, if kids are learning about fractions, right? The teacher can teach them fractions, go through the textbook, and then show them our video on fractions for 30 minutes. That is like, you know, the characters are singing about fractions, teaching them about fractions in a fun way. So yeah, I think that would be very effective and very good for the kids. Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to add anything?
Oh, well, I was going to say there's this kind of movement around something called the flipped classroom model, which technology allows you to use, where they say you're flipping the classroom, where the kids can actually use, or you know, students of any kind, video or apps to learn the content, right? They're like, this is what a fraction is, and we do that in a fun way. But what it does is it allows the teacher then to actually be more engaged, spending one-on-one time with other kids while some are using you know, the videos to learn the content, or to just really focus on doing activities in the classroom. So where it used to be the teacher stood at a board and taught you things, and then you went home to do homework in those activities, now they're saying, well, you can learn those things anywhere just from a video. The teacher doesn't have to say the same thing over and over again. But then when you come in, when you're doing the practical application of it, you've got the teacher there to support you and help you out. And I think there really is a big push in Tanzania. It's not going to happen yet, but over the next decade, to get technology into the classrooms. And I think what it really does is it empowers teachers to no longer be that lady stuck at a board or man, writing, you know, the same thing again and again, but who can interact with the kids and really one-on-one help them learn.
And I think it makes their job fun as well, you know.
For sure.
Yeah. So Nisha, you were recognized by Lionesses of Africa as one of the 17 women from the USA making a positive impact in Africa. What are some qualities, being a female business leader, that you think are beneficial for the growth and success of your company?
Oh wow. So I think having a really positive and can-do attitude is really important, especially as a woman, because I think there are a lot of barriers you have to overcome. But sometimes I'm almost kind of positive to the point that I'm a bit oblivious. So it actually makes it easier as a woman, because I never go into something thinking that, oh, because I'm a woman, you know, this is going to be different or whatever. I just kind of expect to be the same as everyone else, and most of the time it works and it translates over. And then, you know, every once in a while you do get that wake-up call that you know, not everyone views the world the same way, or so I think having a lot of positivity and just drive, you know, that drive to get things done and do whatever you need to do to get them done, and get your hands dirty. I have a science background, and you know, I'm still probably our IT support in the office. I'm the techie, and I'm always telling the other women, like, why are you asking a guy, you know, a question about the computer? No, we have the same ability to do that. You know, no one has any superpowers. We just have to also show and like be a model for other girls that, you know, there's nothing that's a man's job or a woman's job. We can all do the same thing.
Yeah, I think, you're so right. I think that it's very difficult, but I think that when you go into something, you should have that attitude where you're like, you know what, doesn't matter. I'm a girl or a guy, I can do it, you know? And especially, I think, like you, I've been very lucky that I've never had that happen to me. But yeah, I think other people go through that a lot here,
Yeah.
you know, or anywhere in the world where they're like, a little bit of a reality check.
Yeah, I mean, I get
it
that
does
all the
happen.
time.
Yeah, oh, you do?
Trying to, you know, fix my car, you know, do stuff with my car. Like, can I help you? I'm like, I'm fine. Like,
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Even in professional meetings, there have been occasions where, you know, but you have to, you know, there's a line, I'm a serious woman. And I think you're, you know, by telling someone this is not okay, you're also like, you know, helping it so that the next woman who's going to have a meeting there is not going to, you know, face the same problem.
I completely agree with you. Yeah, I've done that a couple of times. Yeah. So as two very inspiring women walking the path of empowerment, what advice do you have for women who want to build their careers and be empowered?
You can do anything. I would say really, actually, for me, it's funny because, you know, I'm so childlike in many ways, and I create cartoons, and then sometimes I blink and I'm like, wow, I'm a grown-up. What is that? And what I learned, I think the biggest part of growing up kind of, and oh my gosh, we've started a company and whatnot, is you realize that no one has all the answers, and no one has anything that makes that we're all, you know, have the potential to be amazing people. So you really, if you do believe you can do anything and you just like push and do it, you can do that. And don't think that, oh, that person's learned this or they have some connection somewhere. Just really, if you believe you can do anything and you're willing to work really hard, like I think, make it possible.
Yeah, I mean, believe in yourself and be honest about who you are.
Okay.
Like everyone else is taken. They say that a lot, but like it's true.
Yeah.
Be you. Like it's fine, just the way you are. Always look for ways to grow and improve, to be better and better and better. But also, don't be afraid to fail. It's okay, and take risks and try new things and do scary things, but do them, because if you just you know, if you're always scared of failing, you'll never you know, fly. You have to try to know, okay, maybe this works for me or it doesn't, but do it. Because I think if you don't, you'll look back and regret, like, oh, I never tried that. I never pursued my dreams. So do it, and yes, believe that you can, because you can. You really can. So it's okay if you fall. Stand up and do it again. Fail again and again and again.
That's some very good advice. And I agree with you. You have to, I think that people who see women in big positions or who have achieved so much, they think that they had this easy way paved for them, or like, you know, they got things easy. It doesn't work like that. And you're right that you have to, you have to believe in yourself, and you have to be ready to fail. And, you know, try again.
And again.
So, so thank you so much for being on the show. You guys are amazing. You're doing such amazing work, and it's such a pleasure to have interviewed you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. This was great.